Hey folks, my guest today is John Brakey. He created a tool called Promise, which was created as a single solution that could support the growth and complexity of a multi-office IT full service business. They achieved the status of a highly respected integrator by developing industry best practices. Check them out again at promys.com. John, are you ready to take us to the top?
I'm ready.
All right. So on your website, you say the company is the world's best CRM, help desk, and professional services automation software. What does that mean? Tell us about a customer who's paying you.
So, what happened, maybe just understand the background that I used to be one of our customers effectively. And so I really understand the business that our customers are experiencing and the issues, the problems, the challenges, and so forth. And so the product was really built with best practices in mind. You think about a services based business that also does the
Can you
technology.
name one, John, as you tell this story so it's a real story?
Yeah, sure. So, well, the company that I was involved with was called Unis Lumen, and it was the third largest Cisco partner in Canada. And it did an array of services from, if you think about it, from a consulting, design, implementation, and post implementation services, or what's now called managed services. And so, if you think about a company that's doing service based business, most of their profitability comes from their services, not from the product sales that they do. And so it's really critical when you do in a service-based business to really manage your utilization and to make sure that you're not losing money because you're doing work that didn't get billed. In addition to that, as you're growing, and our experience is we grew from 30 million to 50 million to 70 million and so forth. And every time we grew at a fairly good clip, it really put a burden on our cash flow. And so it's really important to be able to think about how you're billing customers, how fast you're billing customers, and so forth. So all of those best practices were integrated into Promise. In addition to that, if you look at most people in the market, they're using two, three, sometimes four different products to cobble their business together, whether it's in the sales process, the order admin process, the delivery project services, and the ticketing side of the service post implementation. And what we wanted to do is have a single place where every time I updated something, it updated across the whole system.
So, John, if an agency is listening right now with 100 people working at the agency, they can use Promise so all their reps and all their workers can manage their time, their inputs, what clients they're working on, how many hours worked, things like that. So you never miss a billable hour.
Correct. And also,
understood. And when did you leave that bigger company to launch Promise? What year?
So there was a parallel process or cutover for a few years, but in 2011 I went full time to just drive the Promise business.
And are you 100% owner of the Promise business, or does that agency own a bunch of the business?
Now I'm a majority owner, but there's a secondary owner as well.
Was that an investor? Did you raise money, or have you bootstrapped?
No, we actually took money that we had from other businesses and used it to do our own investment. So it's an actual partner, not an investor.
Is that partner, are they also a customer of the tool?
No, they're not active in the business anymore. They're off doing some other things. So they're just really acting in the board of directors.
Oh, what's going on there, YouTube? Good to see you guys. Now imagine this. You love watching these interviews with SaaS founders, but imagine if we took all of the valuation data out from over 2,807 interviews I've done manually. Saves you a lot of time. Well, we've done this. We've built it into the beautiful interface inside of FounderPath. Check this out. I'll show you how you can access this in a second, but you log in, you connect your Stripe account, you see your valuation real time, you can see what it changed over the past 88 days, and even set goals for valuation this year. Now, the secret to valuation is there's many different ways to value a SaaS business. So the reason you're going to see 3 or 4 different valuations inside of your FounderPath dashboard, this is all free by the way, is because depending on who's doing the buying of your SaaS company, you're going to get a different valuation. A VC is going to pay a different valuation. Private equity firm is different. If you're going to do a minority sale, that's different. And if you sell the whole business, that's a different valuation. You can see all those when I hover over here. Right. So the teal is what a VC would pay, yellow is what private equity, and red is if you sold the whole thing outright. Now, what's cool about this is not built off random data. Again, you guys hear these interviews on YouTube. All these data are built from real-time valuation data points founders share with us on the show. So traction, 1.2 million, seed round, 3.7 raise, they sold 22% of their business. Go in here and filter by the event. Maybe you only want to see companies that have sold the whole business. Well, here are a bunch that have been acquired, the valuation and the multiple. Maybe you're going out right now and you're raising your seed round. Well, go in here and look at all this recent seed deals that went down, what they raised, what valuation they raised at, and what percent that they sold. There's never been a larger data set of SaaS valuations than what you can get now inside of FounderPath, and we're thrilled to bring it to you. All right, we're going to go back to the YouTube video here in a second, but if you want to check this tool out, if you want to jump in and sign up, you can check it out for free to get your valuation at this link, founderpath.com/products/valuations. Or if you go to founderpath.com and hover over products, click on get your valuation here and go ahead and sign up to give it a whirl. Again, all that valuation data live right inside the platform. I hope to see you there. All right, let's jump back into the interview. Interesting. Okay, but you own, call it 60, 70%. They own 40, 30%, something like that.
Exactly right. Right.
Okay, interesting. So you launched this in 2011. Tell me more about these customers, these big agencies that use you today on average. So what's sort of a sweet spot that they pay you per month to use the technology?
How much do they pay per month?
On average, yeah, a sweet spot.
Yeah. So, well, if you look at it, it's based on a seat license, and there are two seat licenses. There's a field license or technical license, and a full license for the salespeople and the admin people. And so you're looking at, on average, about, if you blend those two rates together, about $59 a month per seat.
And how many seats is your average customer?
The average customer is about 40, 45.
Okay, so you're talking, these are like sales motions where you're selling $2,300, $2,400 a month plans.
Roughly, yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting. And do you have a big sales team? What's your team look like today? How many folks?
No, there's only about 3, and we do a lot of it through marketing and referral. And like all of our sales are done remotely. We don't have to visit the customer sites, which is kind of interesting in a COVID world. And the sales cycle is anywhere from about a month to about 4 months, roughly. Our customers range from on the low side about 10 users and the high side about 150 as an average. But what they do, and they're in sectors. So we have people that are in the IT integration business. We have people that are pure MSPs or managed service providers. We also have a group of physical security and fire suppression, fire security and fire alarm system companies. They all have the same common problem. They sell equipment. They need to quote the equipment and the labor. They have to deliver the equipment and the labor, and then they want to do post-implementation support. And that's really the sweet spot for our stuff.
And that account that's 150 users, I imagine that's your largest account. What does that ACV represent? Is that like a $100,000 a year contract?
That's about right. Yep.
Okay. Wow. And have they been with you since the beginning?
Most of our customers have been around for 5+ years. In that case, some of the larger ones have been around for almost 10 years. And where we lose customers is actually sometimes they get bought or they go out of business. Usually the smaller ones.
Yeah. And how many customers are you working with today, John?
So we both have, I guess, approximately about 150, 200.
Oh, wow. Okay. That's a lot. You're managing 150 customers at $2,300 a month with a team of 3 people.
No. That's the salespeople are 3 people.
But what's the total team?
The total team's 15 plus another 5 that are subcontract on the, if it breaks down into support, like customer service and so forth, the implementation training, and the other part of it is the development. We're always doing updates and releases, sort of, adjusting to what's the need for in the marketplace. So we do a new release every 2 to 3 months, actually.
But John, is my math right? Can I take 150 customers times $2,300 a month on average to get your monthly revenue, or no?
I'm not sure. I don't do math very well, but
that would be about $345,000 a month in revenue.
Yeah, that's about right. Right.
Okay, very cool. And if that's revenue today, where were you exactly a year ago? Do you remember?
Uh, we were probably about 25% less, but
Okay. Well, look, so 300,000 a year ago, $345,000 a month now. That's a nice growth rate. Where are you getting new customers from? How are you growing?
so a combination of some referrals from existing customers. So we have a program with existing customers that they refer us. And the other one is we do the nice thing about our business is we know who the target customers are. And so we have a pretty strong list of about 4,000 um, prospects where we know their names, we know the people in the company, and so we can market to them and call them and so forth. And it's really about a cycle that somebody's, you call them up and I'm not interested, I don't have the problem. A year later, they're not happy with their current solution. And so you just have to keep on remarketing to them. And over time, those 300 or so, or 3,000, I should say, prospects drop into the sales bucket.
And just to be clear, John, you've done all this bootstrapped, right? Outside of that other partner you have, it's all bootstrapped.
Yeah, pretty much. We've had a lot of good cash flow, and we had our own investment from some other businesses that we sold. So we've never really had to go outside in the marketplace.
Yeah, no, you're very profitable. The biggest expense typically in SaaS companies is headcount. And so we always look at revenue per head, and you have top 25 percentile revenue per head of about $276,000 if it's a 15-person team doing 4.1 million in ARR. So makes complete sense to me why you're so profitable.
Good mathematician there.
Yeah, well, I want to give credit where credit's due. I mean, that is why you're able to scale, is because you do so much with such a small team. That's great. Tell me more about plans for 2022. Do you have plans to stay private? Do you have any, if someone offered you, 10 million all cash up front to sell the business, do you sell today?
Um, well, I think that what I've learned from some previous business that I've owned is that train time is any time. But I've been fortunate to be to discriminate and make sure that the buyer, if there was a buyer, and we're not looking specifically for one, but you never know, somebody might call you up. But the important thing for me is to say, will that buyer deal with both the employees and the customers? You see some buyers who are, I'll call them financial buyers, who want to strip the company down, and you've seen this in the marketplace where there have been some major acquisitions in the past with some of our competitors, and the result is that the service, say, capability drops way off.
Can you name one or two of them?
Well, it was ConnectWise had a major problem when they had a major investor come in and buy the company, and it took them about maybe a year and a half to really recover from that.
So who would be the perfect buyer for you? Can you name a company?
Not really. There's I guess you could argue sometimes your competitor, but usually it's about somebody who might be in the adjacent market and looking for the synergy. So if you think about it, you're familiar with SolarWinds, or what's now split up into two companies, and there's Enable, which is the other side. So these are RMM vendors, or remote monitoring vendors, who want to keep their customers and provide more services to their base of customers.
Mm-hmm.
The other ones are some of these companies like Acronis and so forth that are providing a whole suite of services to managed service providers. They're providing security, they're providing hosting, and so forth. And so by providing additional stuff like the whole sort of workflow system in the back end, that just means more revenue for them and more stickiness with their current customers.
Mm-hmm. That makes a lot of sense, John. Let's wrap up here with the famous five. Number one, favorite business book.
I think that I love innovation, and the Innovator's Dilemma and the Innovator's Solution are kind of a series by two authors, and they're just phenomenal about how do you think about always innovating, and what's the methodology for basically being successful at innovation.
Number two, is there a CEO you're following or studying?
Actually, I really like the psychology, like everything's about people, and there's a wonderful book by a psychologist or neurologist. The book is called Behave, and it's by R. Serplinski. He's a professor, I think, out of Harvard, and just a phenomenal read. It's an easy read. He's a little bit funny, but once you read his, you really understand people, customers, how we think and behave and learn. And that's really critical. Like, one thing I want to mention is that in the software world, what's really critical is user adoption. And for the most part, companies do a really poor job at it. And so that's why we studied people like Saplinski's information, so that we could say, hey, we don't want you to just buy the equipment or the software. We want you to be able to take advantage of it.
All right, let's move forward here. Number 3, a favorite online tool for building the business.
I'm not sure that I have one.
Okay. Number 4, how many hours of sleep do you get every night?
I actually do pretty good. I do like 6 to sometimes 7.
Okay, that's great. And what's your situation, John? Married, single, kids?
I'm divorced, and I do have 3 girls.
3 kiddos. And how old are you?
Pardon?
How old are you?
I'm 65.
Last question. Something you wish you knew when you were 20.
Everything that I know now. More about people and situations that, what with age comes wisdom. And it's pretty powerful, because my favorite expression is that life is a wonderful teacher. The only problem is it gives you the test before the lesson. And so I like making mistakes, because I think you learn much more from mistakes than you do from successes.
Guys, there you have it. John launched Promise, PROMYS.com back in 2011. He's helping agencies track billable hours, both on machines and equipment, and also humans, to make sure nothing leaks through and profit margins stay high. He's doing about $300,000 a month in revenue a year ago, now $345,000 a month. Healthy growth, 150 customers, totally bootstrapped, which we love. 15 folks on his team, 3 sales reps, rest mostly engineering, as he looks to continue to scale. John, thanks for taking us to the top.
My pleasure.
One more thing before you go. We have a brand new show every Thursday at 1 p.m. Central. It's called Shark Tank for SaaS. We call it Deal or Bust. One founder comes on, 3 hungry buyers. They try and do a deal live, and the founder shares back-end dashboards, their expenses, their revenue, ARPU, CAC, LTV, you name it, they share it. And the buyers try and make a deal live. It is fun to watch every Thursday, 1 p.m. Central. Additionally, remember, these recorded founder interviews go live. We release them here on YouTube every day at 2 p.m. Central. To make sure you don't miss any of that, make sure you click the subscribe button below here on YouTube, the big red button, and then click the little bell notification to make sure you get notifications when we do go live. I wouldn't want you to miss breaking news in the SaaS world, whether it's an acquisition, a big fundraise, a big sale, a big profitability statement, or something else. I don't want you to miss it. Additionally, if you want to take this conversation deeper and further, we have by far the largest private Slack community for B2B SaaS founders. You want to get in there. We've probably talked about your tool if you're running a company, or your firm if you're investing. You can go in there and quickly search and see what people are saying. Sign up for that at nathanlatka.com/Slack. In the meantime, I'm hanging out with you here on YouTube. I'll be in the comments for the next 30 minutes. Feel free to let me know what you thought about this episode. And if you enjoyed it, click the thumbs up. We get a lot of haters that are mad at how aggressive I am on these shows, but I do it so that we can all learn. We have to counter those people. We got to push them away. Click the thumbs up below to counter them, and know that I appreciate your guys' support. All right, I'll be in the comments. See ya.